All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are exploring one of our most highly requested topics, the anatomy of the spine. Whether you are a student brushing up for an exam or just someone curious about the intricate machinery of your own body, we are going to break this complex structure down so it's super clear and easy to understand.
But before we look at the individual pieces, I want to pose a question to get us started. How exactly does a stack of 33 small bones manage to hold up your entire body? I want you to challenge yourself to think of the spine not just as a body part, but as an absolute masterclass in biological engineering. It is literally an architect's blueprint, designed to give you this perfect balance of massive weight-bearing strength and incredible flexibility.
And that brings us to our magic number, 33. The human backbone, or the vertebral column, is typically made up of 33 individual bones, which we call vertebrae. But they aren't just stacked directly on top of one another like a wobbly tower of wooden blocks. They are beautifully interconnected by 23 cartilaginous intervertebral discs. You can think of these discs as your body's built-in shock absorbers. They keep the entire system running smoothly so the bones don't grind together. Because, when they do grind, or when a disc slips, that's exactly where back pain comes from.
And this beautifully illustrates our curved central pillar. Notice how they aren't perfectly straight? The top pink region, the cervical spine, and the lower purple region, the lumbar spine, naturally curve forward. Meanwhile, the yellow thoracic part and the green sacral parts curve backward. This alternating S-like shape is absolutely crucial because it gives the spine its immense strength and makes those shock-absorbing properties work so well.
Section 1. Anatomy of a vertebra. The fundamental building block. Zooming in from the big picture, it's kind of mind-blowing to see how the shape of a single vertebra perfectly matches its job. Take a look at that light blue section at the bottom. That is the vertebral body. It's this large, cylinder-shaped part in the front that acts as your primary weight-bearing structure. And because it carries so much of your weight, the size of these vertebral bodies actually grows larger and thicker as you move further down the spine. Right behind it, highlighted in pink and green, is the vertebral arch, which forms a protective ring we'll talk about in just a bit.
But a bone needs to be able to move and connect, right? That's where these bony projections come into play. A typical vertebra has 7 of these projections, which are known as processes. You'll notice the spinous process pointing out the back in green, the transverse processes out on the sides in blue, and the articular processes in red and yellow. Basically, these act like little levers for your muscles to pull on, and they provide anchor points for your ligaments to keep the whole spine completely stable.
But hey, here's where it gets really interesting. We've seen the typical structure, but the very top of your spine actually throws those standard rules right out the window to do a highly specialized job.
Section 2. The cervical spine, the mobile top. So this is formed by your first 7 cervical vertebrae, neatly called C1 through C7. This is hands down the most mobile portion of your entire spine. But to achieve all that amazing head mobility, we need to meet 2 very unique players right at the top. The atlas, which is C1, and the axis, which is C2. Together, these 2 vertebrae create a highly specialized pivot joint system just for your head.
Let's contrast them side by side because they are fascinating compared to the rest. On the left is the atlas. Notice anything missing? There's literally no vertebral body. It's basically just a bony ring that sits right under your skull and lets your head nod yes. On the right, we have the axis. See that blue and yellow tooth-like bump pointing straight up in the middle? That's called the dens. The ring of the atlas slips right over this dens, creating a perfect little pivot point that lets you shake your head no.
Section 3. The thoracic spine, the rib anchors.
Moving down the blueprint, we reach the 12 thoracic vertebrae. Let's quickly contrast these with the cervical ones we just looked at to see how their jobs change their shape. While those neck bones are highly mobile so you can look around, the thoracic vertebrae have a much more stabilizing role. The major distinguishing feature of the thoracic spine is that its main job is to anchor your ribs securely in place.
And this clearly illustrates exactly how they do that. Guide your eyes right to that red dot on the side of the vertebra. That smooth little spot is called a costal facet. This is the exact location on the sides of these bones where your 12 pairs of ribs physically attach. It's a remarkably engineered, super secure connection that forms a stiff cage to protect your heart and lungs.
Now, this next part is often misunderstood. People naturally assume the spine just keeps stacking individual bones all the way down to the very end. But the structure fundamentally changes at the bottom to create your base.
Section 4. Lumbar, sacrum, and coccyx, the fused foundation.
As we travel past the 5 massive, heavy-lifting lumbar vertebrae, we reach a firmly fused base. On the left is the sacrum.
It's this large, triangle-shaped bone located at the base of the spine. What's wild is that it actually starts out as 5 separate bones that gradually merge together during puberty, becoming one fully fused piece by about age 30 to link your spine directly to your pelvis. On the right is the coccyx, located just below the sacrum. This is what we commonly call our tailbone, and it's actually made of 3 to 5 tiny fused bones that cap off the very terminal part of the spine.
Section 5, the vertebral canal, the neural highway. So we have this massive, intricate framework of 33 bones, curves, and discs. But at the end of the day, it all exists primarily to protect one incredibly vital structure. By definition, the vertebral canal is a funnel-shaped space running straight down the back of the spine. It is essentially a hollow cavity created by stacking all those little vertebral arches we looked at earlier right on top of each other.
See those red dots mapping this vertical path? That canal acts as your body's ultimate network cable. It safely and securely houses your delicate spinal cord, the protective layers around it, blood vessels, and all those vital nerve roots branching off to control the rest of your body. Without this heavily armored tunnel of bone, your central nervous system would be completely exposed.
All right, let's bring it all together. Think of these as your key takeaways for the architect's blueprint of the spine. We've got 33 interconnected bones divided into 5 distinct regions. We explored the thick, weight-bearing vertebral bodies and those little projecting processes that act as levers. And ultimately, we learned the spine's highest calling, acting as an immensely strong yet totally flexible armor for your body's neural network.
So what part of the spine's anatomy surprised you the most? Was it that ring-shaped atlas bone that lets you nod? Or maybe how the sacrum completely fuses together? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you found this explainer helpful, make sure to subscribe for more clear, simple medical explanations. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.